All Jitsi Meet is just a WebRTC client. And the Jitsi Meet client actually does support a grid video layout.
That's okay. So if you support a grid layout, or if you can, obviously you can support it, why not do it? Because that's pretty much what a lot of people need for like streaming and shit. Well, I mean, not really streaming, but like podcasting and stuff. It does definitely come in handy.
That's a good question.
And I've also had people tell me that like it's really like the only reason that people don't use Matrix and Element and shit is because Matrix is even talked about. Like, and I kind of agree with those people. I'm like, stop talking about Matrix. Just tell everybody about the front end that everyone's going to use that looks nice and works, and then just call that. Like, no one talks about the Discord backend. Like, no one talks about the Jitsi backend. I mean, I'm sure there are people that do, but like, you know, not in the common like user space.
When it comes to Jitsi, that's kind of weird because like the closest thing to a backend for Jitsi is just the central server that tells all the web browsers how to talk to each other, because really it's the web browsers that's doing the majority of the work because it's WebRTC.
No.
By the way, Gen 2 plug.
Of course. Now, I do just have to level with you because I'm sure you're going to have a good reaction to this. We did, the night before we were originally going to record this, I did try installing Gentoo with Scott, my new roommate. So we did give it a go. It did not work out. As per typical Gentoo installs for me, did not work out. But I will say one thing. It was a pretty nice install this go around. Like Scott like sat down on my computer and got me all set up with like I think we were using Kubuntu or something like that, where it's just a live environment to install it from, and
environment really is the best way to install it.
Yeah, we got all set up. Like, I don't know, it was a really nice time. Like, that was the best time I've had installing Gentoo, but it still didn't pan out well. Which, I mean, might be due to the fact that, like, I have to record. I have to, like, use some pieces of software that are not, like, super easy to grab.
Okay, so what you can do is if you need to record, you use a separate machine to run a recording on. And you just SSH into the installer for Gentoo. Because that's how I did it for my distro hacking series.
Okay. I've also heard that I mean, one strategy that you could go about doing is just recording the live environment that you're working from, and then just streaming from there.
You could do that. However, you have to realize you're installing fucking Gentoo here, and you're wanting to record with FFmpeg at the same time. Are you a savage? Because that just slows you down.
True. Good point. I didn't even think about that, man. That is a good point. Oh. Well, I mean, I don't know. It just depends on your hardware. If you got some beefy end hardware, you might just be like, screw it. Who cares?
Okay. That laptop has a Celeron.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. You have all that power sitting up there.
Yeah, I have all that power. That is a 10th gen Celeron CPU in that laptop, which, by the way, that's be like 17 hours of battery life on Gentoo.
Jesus.
Which is 4 more than if I would use Arch Linux on it.
Damn. That's like MacBook almost level, like, power. Jeez.
Yeah, I know, right? It just sips it. Lighted, most of the time the laptop actually just sits idle and actually runs and doesn't really do a whole lot. So maybe that's why the battery lasts so long, because I don't really actively use it.
It's just
right now is like the first time I actually opened the lid just so I could open up a terminal, zoom in on it, and run NeoFetch for you. I don't even know if there's a screensaver installed.
I love it.
But,
No, go ahead.
really, like, that laptop is a dedicated Emacs machine too, so it really doesn't do a whole lot at all, because most of what I do is I just like use it for like creating my D&D campaigns in.
Uh-huh.
So it just sits there and just like an org mode buffer all the time.
Wait, so you like using Emacs a lot as well?
It's not that I like using Emacs specifically. I just like the simplicity of org mode with everything that you can do within org mode compared to like Vim Wiki with Markdown or anything like that. Because with using org mode inside of Emacs itself, you have access to all the wonderful key bindings that they have pre-configured for you. So like if I want to put in a link, I can literally just hit Control L and just type in the link name and then hit enter and then type in the URL and it's done. I don't have to do any like weird brackets, parentheses, asterisks or anything like that. It just works.
Which is nice. I mean, that's kind of how
Yeah.
you want it to.
And then if like I want to push it to my Git repository, because you know we're nerds here, we're already using Emacs. Let's just use Git for our D&D campaigns too.
As you should.
I just hit Alt X, type in maggot, and then hit Control C, and I'm good.
Maggot. Just type in maggot.
Yeah, maggot is the built-in Git client for Emacs.
Okay. See, but as beautifully simplistic as that sounds, getting set up in Emacs is not a simple task, you know?
Actually, it's pretty simple because I don't use regular Emacs. I use Doom
Emacs, yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but still you gotta get comfortable with it.
You sudo apt install Emacs. You git clone the Doom Emacs directory. Then you just run the install script, and then you just launch Emacs, and then you have Doom Emacs. Oh, you don't know how to get around? It's just like fucking Vim because it's evil mode.
Yes, but here's the thing. It's not the glory of Vim. It's just, I mean, it's got some nice things from Vim.
Yeah.
You know,
it's really not the glory of Vim, but it's pretty fucking close.
Yes. But see, that's my point though. Like, you know, when you've got the real prophet on one side, why go mess around with the, like, you know, the slightly beaten, battered, you know, prophet? Come on now. You got the good one.
Okay. So when you're working with a document that's 100,000+ lines, Vim is actually slower than Emacs for the search. It literally is.
By like a little bit.
Not even. It's noticeable. It's noticeable, and even on my desktop machine here, which is like a Ryzen 7 CPU with a three NVMe SSDs all running in RAID 0. It's a fucking noticeable difference.
But how? Like, see, that would be my question. How would Emacs be faster? Like, I've installed Emacs. There is so much fucking shit that you're doing with Emacs. How is it faster?
I don't actually know how it's faster. It might have something to do with the fact that Emacs itself is actually written in C using ELIST, which is also a pretty low-level language, compared to Vim, which is largely written in its own proprietary well, not necessarily proprietary in the sense of like closed source, but proprietary as in specific to Vim in VimScript. Because I don't even think Vim was initially written in C. It was written in something else. I'd have to like look at the source code.
Yeah, I'd have no idea. I just go to the Church of Vim, and I subscribe there. Now, again, some people don't see it as a church. Some people see it as an underground movement, which I agree with.
At the same time, it's also just a preference. It's also just a preference of workflow too.
No, but see, like that's the lame way of looking at it. That's like the realist. Yeah. That's the real way of looking at it. But it's lame.
I mean, if Vim works for you, I'm not going to argue at all with Vim, because you know Vim is. I admit that Vim is an amazing text editor, but that's really all it is, just a text editor.
Yeah. See,
I guess if that's all you need it for, that's great.
I've had arguments with people. Like, I like this because as much as a troll as you like to portray yourself and can be at times, I mean, you're a pretty level-headed guy. Like, I've had some conversations with people who are like, no, just Emacs is better. And I'm like, it's not, but like, look, if I just want a text editor, like I just want a text editor, I don't have extravagant needs. I don't even have like moderate needs. I just sometimes need a text editor. Vim is perfect for that because that's all it is.
Yeah, Vim is perfect for it. But if you really want just a plain text editor, it's Nano all the way.
Oh, that's where we're gonna have a problem, man. Oh,
It's true though, but if you want just a basic bitch text editor, it is Nano.
okay, yeah, that is how I put it. Yeah, if you want the basic bitch text editor, go with Nano.
And you know what? Nano is amazing for what it is. It's
yes,
when
it
you
does.
look at it in scope, it is an amazing project in itself because they finally implemented syntax highlighting in their last release. It's there by default now.
And they do objectively take the beginner side of text editing, like terminal-based text editing, into account. Like, even though they do have crazy fucking shortcuts, at least they tell you what they are front hand. Like, you don't have to go searching.
At the same time, it's just like Vim knows its user base. Because if you meet every single person that goes out there and goes like, Vim is an amazing text editor, you have to realize that these people are not developers. They're just the kind of guy that opens up a terminal, maybe opens like a Nano just to modify something outside of /home, and then they're out.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
they're not they're not like developing like their entire website in Nano or anything like that.
No.
Yeah, it's just like I know somebody that uses just VS Code just to like modify their Docker Compose files.
Yeah, I use
so it's just
I use VS Codium just because it's got a lot of C# shit like just included with it, so I just use it. Also, I don't know, like to me, I will use things for different purposes. I would probably, if I was like getting into writing as a profession, then yeah, I would definitely spend the time to get familiar with Emacs, because I mean, it makes sense. If if you have bigger needs out of your text editor, yeah, Emacs will fulfill that, because it can be so much more than a text editor. If you need to do research while you're writing, Emacs can do that all in there.
It's just built-in web browser.
Yeah, like there's no reason to even leave. Like,
yeah, like that laptop, the only package I have installed besides like Xorg is just Emacs. And well, I guess technically I do run Emacs and DWM, because it's just like it's kind of stupid to run EXWM.
Yeah, because doesn't it cause issues?
It's not that it causes issues. It's the fact that the entire Emacs project is single-threaded, and EXWM is a plugin built on top of Emacs, which shares that same thread. So if for some reason Emacs crashes, you lose your entire GUI.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah, that is a problem. So that's why you don't run EXWM.
Talk about a single point of failure. Damn.
It really is a single point of failure, and there's an attempt in the Emacs community to fix it. The problem is that, of course, Emacs, because it's more than just a text editor, is such a huge project. Like I believe there are more lines of code in Emacs than there was in the Linux kernel in 2012.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised at all.
It's a lot of stuff, and setting up parallel threading is actually kind of a pain in the ass.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's not built. I mean, you got to go back through and adjust so much of the code. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, you have to basically start from scratch, and that's what the Remax project is actually trying to do right now, where they're rewriting Emacs, but not necessarily in like the C base using eLisp. Well, actually, I think they're kind of an abandoned project at this point. It's been a while since I looked, but they were attempting to rewrite Emacs in Rust with the primary goal of setting up multi-thread support.
Oh, okay. I'd be interested in that. Now, I know everybody would. I think everybody, just because of the memes of Rust, would detest a version of Emacs in Rust. But
I mean, there's Vim clients written in Rust. Have you ever looked at Neovide? It's actually really cool.
no, I haven't. But I
You should
have.
look at Neovide. It's actually really cool.
I probably will because I've been using a lot more Rust programs. Like they're just nice.
Yeah, the big thing with Neovide is that it's a graphical client that runs NeoVim inside of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's just like GVim, but it's actually good.
Oh, okay. I'm down. Sold. I'm getting this now. Like,
The biggest benefit that Neovide has is that it has cursor movement animations.
wait,
It's
what?
like so addicting just to like manually scroll from the top to the bottom of a text page after you get it installed for like the first 2 hours. It's almost like the first time you discover wobbly windows.
Dude, yes, this is gonna be great. The one thing I've actually been using wobbly windows here on KDE for the past little bit, and dude, like it's been
And every now and then you just gotta like open up the file manager, just kind of shake it around.
yeah, like my favorite thing here lately has been like in the game engine. For some reason here on Linux, all of my pop out window, like if I pull up a drop down window in the game engine in Unity, it'll like open up over on my other monitor somewhere. And the best thing is like I don't even care because I have to drag it over, and like these tiny windows when I drag them over, they're just violently wobbling. It's the best. It's one of those things where like I didn't think that I'd enjoy getting back into floating window managers, but I have. They're nice. I still kind of prefer the workflow of a tithing window manager, but I am having fun here in KDE. Particularly only because everything's working. That's mainly it.
My camera is actually lagging a little bit right now, if you've noticed.
I
I'm
have.
using the cheap little $15 capture card on it right now because for some reason my big expensive capture card here kind of just died on me.
Oh no. Is that one of the
Yeah.
Elgato ones?
No, this is actually the EVGA XR1, their light version.
I've never even heard of that
It
before.
supports 4K 60 FPS.
Oh shit.
And it's a UVC device, so it just works.
Holy
It just
crap.
fucking works.
Okay.
It's amazing.
I didn't even know this product existed.
Well, you're welcome. Now you know.
I didn't even know EVGA made a capture card. Like what?
They make 3 of them.
I'm definitely not low key going over here and loading up the website.
Specifically, you want the LITE. It's the XR1 LITE. You want specifically that one, because the other one just has a bunch of gimmicky features.
Oh, holy crap! It's less than $70.
Yeah, it's cheap.
Holy crud! Okay, I'm sold. And
Put that shit on the wish list.
4K 60 FPS. Okay, yeah. So, they're even trying to offer me financing for it. I could get financing for less than $20 a month. I'm like, okay, look,
Yep.
I can afford $60 a month, or $60 a month. $60. That's fine.
I mean, if you have to finance that, you have some pretty
Yeah, I mean,
tough decisions to make.
yeah. I mean, if you got to finance,
At the same time, I one time financed a pencil for the fun of it.
a pencil.
A pencil. It was a $10 pencil, and I just said, you know what? Let's just do this financing thing. Let's just see what their terms are. I financed with, their offering for a finance was a single monthly payment, just one, with a 3% interest rate, which equals to $10.30, where I could have just spent $10 on the pencil.
So you spent 30 cents extra just to pay a month later?
Yep.
That's the best thing I've ever heard. Oh my god.
Well,
Wait.
I sat there and I looked at this and I'm like, there has to be a reason why.
Please tell me it was a box of pencils. What pencil were you buying that was $10?
It was a single pencil.
And why was it worth $10?
It's a really nice pencil, although it's currently lost right now. But it was a really nice pencil while it lasted.
That's what I expected to hear.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you still had it to this day. I knew the answer was going to be
currently
no.
lost in that back room somewhere because I did recently move and I still have yet to unpack all my boxes.
Oh yeah, same. I did just recently on like kind of 4 hours of decision making, decide to drive up to Colorado and stay for a few months with my buddy Scott here. So yeah, hold on, take the webcam. You so I mean,
Just random change of scenery.
yeah, exactly, you know. And it's nice and snowy up here, and the kind of fun part is like I don't think a lot of people know that like me and Scott were already hanging out like all day every day on Discord. So it's not like I just moved across the country to some random guy's house. Like we do already know each other pretty well. So, but yeah, like that was an 18.5 hour drive, man. How long did you have to drive for your move?
Next door.
You bastard.
I know. It was about 16 feet.
That's terrible. Why?
Because I moved out of the efficiency, which the entire apartment was less than the size of this room that I'm in now, to a place that has a separated kitchen. For the same cost of rent, actually.
Really?
Like, you know what? This is a fucking deal. I'll take it.
Damn. Yeah.
I know, right? I even have a dedicated room for my servers.
Same price, and you only had to move like 16 feet? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. A little jealous.
Yeah, the biggest trade-off is that like this baseboard heater is not nearly as warm in this apartment as it was the other one, because this baseboard heater is like working super hard just to keep this place warm.
Hey, all that means is either you need to start running your shit more hard, or I don't know, an upgrade on the heater.
Well,
probably not that bad.
You know, I have 3 servers in there. They're 3 Dell R720s, which are running the old, I think it's just after Haswell's CPUs.
Oh, okay.
And they are my build servers for Gen 2. And I told everything to emerge world today.
Oh.
Everything. So that is 27 devices that is currently running Gen 2. So they are working. If I open up that door, you will hear them.
Jesus. Oh my God.
You know,
talk about a workload.
The only thing I'm not running Gen 2 on is my Android phone, because I even run Gen 2 on my Pine phone.
Damn. Well, all right. So here's my question. You have like 27 devices in your house, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All of them running Gen 2.
All of them.
Okay. Well, then explain this ethereal concept that I have trouble with. You have 27 devices all successfully with Gen 2 on, running them just fine. How on God's green earth can 2 guys with just 2 computers not get it installed?
Because apparently you don't know what the fuck you're doing, or you can't read the fucking manual.
That's true. Good point there. Good point. I don't know, man. Well, I think Scott ran into an issue when it came to EFI. Now, he's installed Gen 2 plenty of times, but never with EFI. So, I can't remember his issue there.
What bootloader were you using?
Grub.
Grub? Okay. So, did you enable the EFI flags in Grub?
You enabled the EFI flags in Grub, right?
You added to the make.conf.
In Grub?
Yeah, like you added to the make.conf.
Yep.
Yeah, you did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you call Grub and point it to the proper boot directory that hopefully you had mounted the entire time?
You mean give it the EFI directory?
You know, just running grub install. Here's where my boot directory is. We are totally using EFI, please.
Yeah. He did that.
Yeah. And then you ran grub make the config, put
I think
my
it was
config
because-
file here.
Well,
and
see, the
slash
thing
boot.
is it wouldn't install.
It wouldn't install. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you have secure boot enabled?
I could have gone more into
He did disable secure boot.
Yeah.
You did disable secure boot. Did you have was it a pure EFI system? Like, did you tell the BIOS to only boot into UEFI and not load BIOS legacy at all?
That one I don't know that he did, because the
Because
BIOS.
it's entirely possible that when you guys were installing Gen 2, it booted in BIOS and not UEFI. So if you boot in BIOS, you cannot install UEFI.
Well, we were in the Kubuntu live environment.
Yeah, it's entirely possible that Kubuntu did not boot in UEFI mode.
That is a good possibility. Damn it. But see, like, this is the problem. You can run into so many different damn issues when it comes to
Well,
Gentoo.
it's really easy because all you have to do is just reboot the machine into UEFI, chroot back into the Gentoo installation that hopefully you didn't wipe out, and then just reinstall Grub.
Yeah, I mean,
and it works.
Yes.
And then I guess if you compile your kernel, you have to enable UEFI flags in your kernel too. But we all secretly use distribution kernels here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking. Although, don't use the distribution kernel for Raspberry Pi.
Why is that?
Don't. It's a terrible idea.
Okay.
Just compile your own.
Okay. Well, wait. Compile your own Linux kernel on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
I mean, how long does that take?
For the Pi 4 with 8 gigs, it takes about 12 hours.
Jesus Christ. For my 3B...
That's why we use build servers for the Pis.
Yeah. For my 3B, that would take so long. It would take like a day and a half, maybe. Like, it'd be bad. Well, so... Since I didn't have a great time with Gentoo, I do want to go ahead and ask you some Gentoo kind of questions as a daily user. One, are you actually configuring and messing around with Gentoo itself a lot? Is that what you spend a lot of your time doing?
About the first week of an installation, yes. Afterwards, I just leave it the fuck alone.
Okay.
Like, at that point, I'm just updating the system. And every now and then, it'll go like, hey, we're making some changes here. They require you to change a config file. Okay, what changes are you wanting to make? Let's just run sudo dispatch-conf. And just make sure you pay attention to the fucking changes, by the way.
Yeah.
So you're sitting there go like, okay, well, here's the pluses, here's the minuses. Okay, that looks good. Yes, I accept these changes to my configuration files. And then you just rerun the update and it just works.
Okay.
Every now and then, like, there will be like a dependency conflict, like the most recent one being like the glibc migration, which was a bit of a headache, but if you sat there and you took the time to read the wiki or chat in the IRC, it's actually relatively simple to work around.
Okay. I don't know, man. Like, do you sometimes feel like you spend too much time fixing your own problems?
At first, I really did. But honestly, like, the greater degree of control over the system that Gentoo allows you compared to like any other distribution is actually quite amazing. Because before Gentoo, I was actually a real big Fedora guy. Like, it's Fedora all the time on everything except for like my servers because Rel's free now.
Yeah. So
Which, my not at home servers are still running like an RPM based distribution. Lighted, I need to move those away from CentOS 8 because that hasn't received a security update in over a month now.
Poor
But at
Sid.
the same time, it's just like I just don't care because like I have a web server that runs Docker containers, and the root file system is read only.
Yeah, it don't
So
matter.
it's just like, sure, I guess there's like security issues, but we're hosting these things in Docker containers onto an encrypted home user directory, and like the most public-facing thing is a static website.
Yeah, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah, and then like my Nextcloud servers, of course, they're running. I set those up after Rel became free, so they're running Red Hat.
Wait, so you don't like are you sure you didn't move from Fedora because of Pipewire and Wayland?
So I moved from Fedora because I realized that like after using Fedora for like a year and a half, I just never really understood what the hell was going on underneath of it,
Mhm.
which I guess isn't like the biggest issue ever. But I understand Debian more than I understand Fedora. And the only reason I understand Debian more is because I used Debian and Debian-based distros since 2008 when I bought my very first computer.
Mhm.
So I used Debian for like 10 years. And the only reason I moved from Ubuntu to Debian was because I didn't like the GNOME transition. So I ran Debian stable from like 2017 to 2018, and it worked just fine for me until like I decided one day just like I want to buy a new GPU, like the top of the line thing. Oh shit, my 4.19 kernel doesn't support it.
Oh,
So of
welcome
course
to
somebody
Debian.
recommended, yeah. So then somebody, and of course Ubuntu was like big in the Snap thing, and it's still running GNOME, and it's just like I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it, I'm looking at all the flavors, and it's just like I just don't want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna run GNOME, Debian taught me that I love bone stock GNOME, so I'm sitting there. I'm actually pretty big in the Jupyter broadcasting community, so I just go like, okay, guys, here's what I want out of a distro. I want something that supports my hardware for once. I want bone stock GNOME, but I don't want to run Arch because I don't like the update aggressiveness of Arch. Yet I run Gentoo.
Exactly.
So they, so of course there are like several Fedora developers in that community. So I guess what distro they recommended.
Yep. And so
So
you
yeah,
use that for a long time.
so I switched to Fedora with the 32 release, and I ran Fedora up until about the 33 release.
Mm.
So I don't think they implemented Pipewire yet, but they were talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, because I'm on Fedora, I could just pull in Pipewire and just give it a shot. And well, it works. Pipewire does work surprisingly well for what it does.
Surprisingly well, yeah.
Like this desktop computer is actually running Pipewire.
Yeah, it does work. It's just
Yep,
some things can be
it
a little bit
works.
more complicated, but you know.
Yeah, it works. Things can be a little bit more complicated. The biggest disappointer to me with Fedora was Wayland. That's
Oh,
really it.
really? Really?
Because I do a lot of media content, not necessarily like the recording or the live stream, because even though I do a little bit of that too,
Mhm.
I am constantly in like these various conferences where it's just like I have to share my screen,
No.
and I use the OBS virtual camera for that, which it works on Wayland, but it doesn't work well on Wayland.
Hmm.
So I just prefer to use X,
Yeah.
and that kind of just like started becoming an issue. And it's like, you know what? I don't want to use GNOME anymore. I've never enjoyed KDE. I've tried to use KDE hundreds and hundreds of times. They just don't work. XFCE, no, not my thing.
No.
Mate, while I enjoyed GNOME too, I do kind of enjoy Mate as a result. But at the same time, it's just not cutting it anymore, in all honesty.
No.
LXQT looks like it's from 1998.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's do like this tiling window manager thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
And
nice.
I couldn't wrap my head around anything besides DWM of all the window managers ever.
DWM is the one that I got too. I was like,
Yeah,
oh,
which
nice.
I guess that has something to do with the fact that DWM ships like next to nothing feature-wise anyway.
Mhm.
So it's just like there's really nothing there for you to actually force yourself to wrap your head around other than sudo make install.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you're really not like shoved out into the weeds when it comes to DWM. It's such a little code base that you can't really get too confused about it.
Lighted for some reason DWM is not wanting to behave itself on that laptop, so that laptop is actually running Spectre WM.
Oh, well, I actually like Spectre WM. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, Spectre WM is actually pretty cool. The problem with Spectre WM is that I tend to capture windows that I'm not actively on because, I'm running a single monitor system. So it's like this voice chat I could have on like workspace or tag number 9, but I could actively be looking at somewhere else.
Mhm.
The problem with most of the tiling window managers is that when you're running like a screen capture like OBS where I'm capturing the window, but I'm not actively looking at the window,
Yeah.
there's nothing to capture.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But because of the way Zenorama works with all of the tag-based window manager, so as far as I know, it's just DWM and the awesome window manager by extent.
Mm-hmm.
I can actually do a live capture of any video feed that I want, even if I'm not looking at it.
Yep.
I can't do that with Spectre WM, and
Yep.
that kind of frustrates me.
Yeah, that's what Matt talks about a lot of the times when he's trying to use other tiling window managers. He's like, I just can't record shit. Like, it just won't work.
And it's because of how Zenorama works. Because how the X window system works is actually pretty damn amazing for what it is. Because when you set up your window manager to use a tag based window manager system, and you set up your 9, 10, 300 virtual workspaces, you're actually telling X to draw one giant ass fucking root window, and you're only looking at part of the window at a time.
Oh, okay.
That's actually how tags work.
Interesting. Okay. That's really weird, but
Yeah,
cool.
Because when you think about it, Xorg draws a window that's called the root window, which if you're not using DWM, you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about.
See, this is the problem. When I get into these types of conversations where we're talking about how Xorg works and all this shit, instantly where my head goes is like, you know what? I should install Gentoo, or I should install, just something where I could build it, like most of it out myself. I have to configure all this stuff. And then I think about it for a second. I'm like, damn it. But I've got everything set up. I can just click a button and start working on the game. Like, this is the problem. Like, I'm in this weird phase as a person where I'm just as interested in configuring and messing around with the actual system as I am making a game. And like, I should be more focused on this one.
This is what you do. This is what you do. You buy a yard sale computer, and you just install Gentoo on the yard sale computer. That way you have something to tinker around with that doesn't affect your work machine.
Well, I mean, I've got extra drives, so I mean, it's not really a big part.
Take one of the drives out and put it into yard sale.
But the problem is no matter what it's going
to take. We have to set up an NFS share.
Well, I mean, to me, like, I don't know. I'm one of those people where, like, if I'm going to spend the time messing around and getting it set up, like, I actually want it. Like, I don't want to spend 10 hours or 12 hours setting up Gentoo, getting it perfect, like just getting a perfect fucking system, and then being like, awesome, now it's on a system that I'm never going to use. Like, that to me is, well, cloning it to my main computer won't be the same, because the setup will be different.
Oh no, you have to reinstall Grub.
Well,
no, you have to change your CPU flags in your make.conf, which you're probably not saying anyway. You're just cheating with like a dash march equals native anyway, right?
yeah. I mean, I'd have to remove microcode because I'm sure I'm not going to get a nice AMD system at a yard sale. That's for sure not happening.
Probably not. Although you might these days.
I mean, I might luck out.
You might,
but I doubt it.
And then you just remove the microcode, reinstall it, reapply your kernel, and you're good.
Yeah, see,
maybe an hour at the most.
You say reapply your kernel like I'm a smart guy.
You don't have to recompile your kernel. All you have to do is just regenerate the init RAM-FS.
Okay.
But gen kernel can do that for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Gen kernel takes care of that?
Yeah, gen kernel takes care of that. It actually tells you how to do that in the Gentoo handbook.
Okay. Wait, so when you run like gen kernel all, does that also recompile your init RAM-FS?
Gen kernel all does everything. It compiles the kernel, compiles the init RAM-FS, sets up your kernel modules for you, assuming that you installed the firmware package, which hopefully you did.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to make life, just that much more difficult, don't.
But you can also do gen kernel, and I think the flag is just like -- init RAM-FS rather than all.
Oh,
And
okay.
it will just do the init RAM-FS. Which in general, if like you set up your kernel correctly and everything, you actually don't need an init RAM-FS unless you're doing disk encryption.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I do have a question. So when it comes to Gen 2 and disk encryption, does that make it much more difficult? Like, are you more likely to run into a lot more problems when you encrypt?
The only time it'll actually be a problem is if you're manually compiling the kernel.
Really?
Other than that, it's just like setting up Arch.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well, I figured encryption would cause a little bit more of an issue.
No.
Just because I figured you'd have to make sure like you'd have to just make sure some shit was set up.
I mean, you do all the same steps that you would do like if like you're manually encrypting a disk with Arch Linux too. It's all relatively the same steps.
I've just never done encryption with Gen 2.
You might open one more configuration file, but like there is a walkthrough written by the Gen 2 developers on how to do all that.
Yeah.
The guy's name is Sam. He's awesome.
We're gonna have to stop because you're gonna convince me to use Gen 2 now, and I just can't. I just can't. I don't know if you heard Scott, but he was like, "Keep going."
Well, I'm never going to actively tell you to use Gen 2. I'm just going to talk about how great it is.
Yeah.
Because bear in mind, while I joke about it all the time, I'm never actually going to tell anybody to actively use Arch Linux or Gen 2 because I don't want to be the person that told them that they were the best option. Because honestly, they're really not.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, it depends on what you want on your computer. For most,
yeah, it depends on what you want to do with your computer.
Yeah.
Actually,
for most people,
I guarantee, unless you're like trying to optimize for maximum performance out of your Raspberry Pi, Gen 2 is probably not the best Linux distribution for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what
By the way, if you're using the SD card on a Raspberry Pi, Gen 2 is fucking amazing.
Really? Just that speed?
My Pi boots in less than 5 seconds.
Holy shit. Wow. That is nice.
I know, right? And that's with the SD card.
I wish.
Because the root file system is only like 50 megabytes. It's really small.
That's awesome. I'm so jealous, dude. Like, I wish my Raspberry Pi. That's like booting up my computer. Damn, I got an expensive NVMe drive in here. Jesus. So I don't know. Like, when it comes to Gen 2, like that's just one of those things where like it depends on what you want to do. If you want that maximum amount of customization, then go for it. But for a lot of people, like that's why I'll never get like recommending Gen 2 to someone who's like, yeah, I just want to get work done. It's like, why in the hell would you recommend Gen 2 to that person?
Now,
like,
when it comes down to like the person that's just like, oh, I just want to get work done, I'm going to tell them to use anything but Gen 2 or Arch Linux. I'm not even going to recommend an Arch-based distribution. I'm going to tell them, hey, you need to, if you want to get just work done, what kind of work are you wanting to do? Are you wanting to do like documents and stuff like that? Well, then Ubuntu is still a great option for that. In fact, most any distribution really is.
Yeah.
Do you want like, do you have like obscure hardware that's like super recent and you like having relatively up-to-date packages? Fedora is actually amazing.
Yeah, they actually are for that. I mean,
yeah, so realistically in my world there's only really like 3 distributions I'm going to tell people to use, and that is Fedora, Ubuntu, and maybe Solus, but I don't know if they have a future right now.
Yeah, I wish I could recommend them still, but they're they're like, I mean, they're not like done, but they're also not like on solid ground. Like,
their last founding member left them, so at this point there's not a single person from like the old Evolve OS days left there. So it's really just a question of can they keep going?
Yeah,
because really Solus is an amazing distribution. They don't really do anything super innovative, but if you're doing just like a desktop use case and maybe you dabble in gaming, Solus is great.
Yeah. Especially if you just like, Solus is one of those distributions where you can definitely know you're on Linux using Solus, but you don't have to. Like,
Yeah.
the experience is so modern and sleek. Like, it doesn't feel like you're using something that's meant for tinkerers. Like,
Yeah, and like 4 years ago when I first tried it, Solus was actually the first Linux distribution that I actually felt like I didn't have to use a terminal.
Yep. Same here.
And while I understand that the terminal is amazing, there are times where maybe I don't want to be doing that.
And I also see it as something for a brand new user to come over. They definitely might gravitate towards something where it's not even like, it's not that it's not there, but it's not even incentivized. Like, you don't have to. It's just one of those things where, like, you can dive into it if you need to.
Yeah, Lighted, their software center could honestly be a little bit better, you know?
Yeah.
Like, when you're installing like third-party applications, it could be a little bit more transparent as to what it's actually doing rather than just having like the gray bar going back and forth like this,
Yeah.
you know?
But I will say,
But-
I've seen way worse software centers. Way worse.
Seen way worse. I've seen more functional software centers. They didn't look nearly as good.
Yeah.
They were functional. Have we looked at Synaptic or DNF Dragora lately? They look fucking horrible. But they work amazingly well.
That's the thing. I heard somebody talk about DNF drag. What is it? How do you spell
DNF
it?
Dragora.
Dragora. Okay. I heard someone talk about that not too long ago, and I was like, man, that is. I looked up a picture. Oh, buddy. Hey, buddy. Relax. I think he saw the mailman. Like, he was talking about it. I'm like, dude, like, that is just one of those things where it works really well, but it looks so bad. If you gave it to somebody, they'd be like, oh, the system's broken. Like,
Yeah.
that's legit what it looks like. It looks like a broken software or a broken piece of software, but it's not. It works great.
That's why Fedora quit using it. Actually, I don't think Fedora's actually ever shipped it because it's an old Mandrake project.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw it in a Fedora build, but I never kept up with Fedora, but I have been using them off and on for a long time. Like, I used the 32. I didn't use 33, I think, but I know I used 34.
I've been using Linux full time for like the entire lifetime that I've actually had a computer. So we're talking from like 2008 forward. Because I live out in the rural area. At one point when I got my computer, my nearest neighbor was 6.5 miles away. I had dial-up internet still.
That's the best. Wait, so did you have party lines out where you are?
Yes.
Yeah.
We had party lines. We could pick up the phone and hear our neighbors talk.
Yep. Yeah, man, I will never forget that as a kid. Just like picking up phones and just being able to hear my neighbor talking.
You know what? When you're running a cron job to update your system at like 3 a.m. and your neighbor comes knocking on your door the next day because he lost his sexy time phone chat, I'm sorry, but maybe you should be reconsidering your life's choices here.
Oh my god, I'm trying to imagine being a dude being like, you know what? Fuck that guy. I'm gonna walk over there. It's like, how do you show up at someone else's house and be like, dude, I was trying to watch porn last night, or I was trying to talk on the phone with some hot chick.
To my understanding, he was trying to talk on the phone lines.
I had a hot babe I wanted to talk to. Like, dude, it's okay. At 3 o'clock in the morning too. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like,
it's like, man, can you imagine it though? You're sitting there, you're getting in the mood. The next thing you know, you got.
Oh god. I hate that noise, man. Every time I hear that in videos when they try and post, like, put that in post, I'm like, I hate you. Stop.
The sad part is that if you've heard it for like the majority of like your internet lifetime, you sit there, you could tell that a lot of the stuff that they're playing on YouTube is synthesized and not actual recordings. You can tell that there's a difference.
Yeah, because the original one was much more painful. It was a lot more painful. It was a lot more visceral.
It was more painful. And honestly, like now that I've been on a proper internet connection for the past 6.5 years, yes, there's some nostalgia every now and then. Goes like, these were the simpler days where like we actually didn't boot up Firefox ever. In fact, we tended to remove it from our Ubuntu installations. Because, you know, the web was garbage.
Uh-huh. Well, the web still is garbage, man. It's utter shit. Oh, I mean, we could definitely go off on a tangent on that. But
Yeah, we probably could.
yeah, but it's been
so,
50 minutes, so
I'm probably like one of the very few people that you met that actually knows all of the key bindings for e-links.
ugh.
Because that's what I used for my web browser.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't. E-links, that's e-lisp links, right?
It is links written in eLisp,
Yeah.
but it is not which is the Emacs web browser. It's a separate project.
Yeah, no. You don't need the Emacs browser, okay? You just
No,
don't.
you don't. But you know, if you're running a dedicated Emacs machine and it happens to have an internet connection, why not?
Yeah, true.
Because, you know, compiling Chromium takes fucking forever.
So true. Buddy, stop it. I keep seeing people. Well, man, it has been good talking to you. I think I will let you go because it's been quite a while, and I definitely didn't do the intro, so I'm gonna cut this into the beginning of this podcast.
I was actually kind of wondering if we were recording the entire time or not.
We are recording, but I started and then I meant to do it and I totally forgot. So this is the Linux crew. I'm joined by Joshua Lee here. This has been a great talk, and now it'll start in the video. This is the best. I love it. That's the one thing I'll say when I record videos. I'm never trying to be professional, right? I think the casual look is much better because it's much more real.
I think like the most professional recorded video that I've ever put on my channel was like my NFS file sharing video that I recorded like 2 years ago. Where it's like, you know what? I can't find a fucking good NFS tutorial that's not like completely filled with like corporate jargon in it anywhere. Can we just like do a 6.5 minute video where it's just like, hey, this is how you set this up. I'm not going to explain to you why it's set up like that. Okay, I might just a little bit, but you know, it's kind of because you kind of need to know that at that point.
Dude, oh, I didn't even know you had an NFS video up. I had no idea. All right. Well, I need to check that out.
Just go to yt.10lyj.com. It redirects straight to my YouTube channel because I don't have a channel ID yet. And you just look up NFS file share, and there's the video. I'm running Debian in that video using the LXQT desktop environment, which, you know, I got it looking okay.
You know, as okay as you can get LXQT to look.
Yeah, as okay. I even have a written article for it on 10lyj.com.
And speaking of that, all of your links will be down below, so everyone can go check them out. You know.
You're welcome. I sent you like 100.
Well, I mean, hey, you've got to at least pimp them out, okay? You've got to.
I do. I even took the time to set up the Amazon wish list just for you.
Oh, perfect.
Like, what do I want off of Amazon? Well, I could always use more books because, as you guys can see, my bookshelf is relatively empty.
Same. I mean, I don't have enough books. I still haven't ordered Hex. You just made me remember. I still haven't ordered Hex's book. I've been meaning to order that, because now it should be on where I can get it as a hardback on Amazon, and I definitely want to do that. It's on my
wish list. I know that much.
Oh, really? Awesome. Yeah. Even though Hex DSL's not here, I guess I'm just going to go ahead and force myself to put this down in the description. At the bottom of the description, there'll be Hex's book too. I'll put a link to that. I think it's I believe I hope I'm getting this name right. It's Hunter's Garden, and it's.
Yeah, I think it's Hunter's Garden. Yeah. Fair warning though, if you want to go to my YouTube channel and like watch the content, I post literally wherever the fuck I want on there. So there's like D&D videos, like nerdy Linux videos. There's even videos of me playing like video games, and I think I have a lot of Monster Hunter videos and a lot of really old, really terrible Magic the Gathering videos where it's just like I do nothing but constantly lose.
Hey, I mean, that's my channel too. I post whatever I'm interested in, man. Like, I've had some people comment and like I don't know. I think they think I'm trying to become the next Linus Tech Tips. And I'm like, yo, like, no, I'm there's not like a consistent level of whatever if I'm interested in it, I post it, and half of the time the video is just cobbled together.
I mean, it took me like 10 years to get 100 subscribers, so it's just like I don't fucking care.
Yeah. Talk about it, man. It took me multiple years to get 100 subscribers. Then it took me like, it only took me a couple more years to get to 1,000. But
well, you also post a lot more consistently than I do.
yeah.
And honestly, like a lot of the stuff I post is actually really, really niche. Like, who's going to sit there and watch like a 4.5-hour D&D session?
You'd be surprised, man.
I mean, I would be surprised, yes. But we're talking about like terribly recorded.
Okay, well then, in that case, that's a little different.
It's there. Everybody's audible.
Well, when you describe it like that, it's audible. So, like, are we talking like 360p video here, brother?
No.
Worse?
We're talking, here's me capturing the Jitsi window looking at a virtual tabletop.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I self-host my own virtual tabletop because I'm a savage. That web server for my website runs Gen 2, by the way.
So, are you one of those people who is 100% self-hosted?
Not quite. Not quite. I'm relatively close, yes. But I'm not quite 100% self-hosted. The goal is, eventually, I will be. The biggest problem has been home automation stuff, because I'm really big in Home Assistant, even though I have like no content for it. I am trying to actively set up an offline smart home, which is extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think I've heard anyone being able to do it. I haven't heard one person.
It is theoretically possible. It's just that nobody's done anything like this, at least on a product that you can buy. So, but you can buy the chips and stuff to do it. So, as long as I have a soldering iron and enough can-do attitude, I can do it.
That's the attitude.
I'm running Gen 2 on like 30+ devices, so I don't really have the time.
Yeah. So true. So true. Well, all right, man. I guess I'll let you go. And it was good talking, man, as always. It's always a joy when you pop in Discord. It's great. So it's nice to have
talk about how bald DT is. And
yeah, I watched his last patron chat, and I love how just like when it kicks off, like just I don't even know, like we're less than like a minute into the recording and already it's just like Gen 2 comes up on your screen, you're like, yes, I'm installing Gen 2. I love it. It was the best. Like, I mean, like we're not even 2 minutes into the video.
Okay, if you scour YouTube, I am posting this isn't a Gen 2 video or this isn't an Emacs video everywhere. Like there's like a popular D&D stream is Critical Role. You can find me in the comments. Go like, this isn't a Gen 2 install.
Also, can I just say something? In talking with people, I have like here on my Discord at least, I found out just how known you are around the Linux space. Like it's not like you're so like I can say your name and people are like, oh yeah, I've seen him.
He's a Gen 2 guy.
Yeah, like people know you so well.
Well, honestly, until I started trolling Matt super hard about Gen 2, nobody knew who the fuck I even was.
It's the best, dude. I was talking to somebody and like I just said, oh yeah, I would be talking to Joshua here before long, and he goes, wait, Joshua Lee? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I've seen him on DT stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, so everyone just knows him. And they all know you for the same thing. It's Gen 2.
If you watch DistroTube, I'm probably there.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, all right, man. I hope you're having a good day, because I know for a fact it's snowy outside here, and I enjoy the snow.
It is raining, and the only thing that shows up in weather reports is not a temperature, not a wind chill. It just says blizzard.
Oh, fun.
And that's supposed to happen about 4 a.m. or so, but it was also like 60-ish degrees yesterday.
It was 55 degrees yesterday.
It is dropping 10 degrees per hour right now.
Ooh. All right.
And it's been raining all day today, so I'm about to have a fun day at work on my way home, at least. I might even get stuck there. I don't know yet.
I was about to say, like, you might not get home. Well, dude, I hope you get home from work. I won't even say safe. I just hope you get home from work.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is, just in case, I've got a couple cans of soup I'm gonna pack in the bag. I've got a blanket that I'm gonna bring with me. Don't necessarily need a pillow because it's a king size blanket. I could just bunch it up anyway.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna pack the laptop and a book, and hopefully we don't have to use all that.
Hopefully. Well, man, again, it's always a great time talking to you. We're definitely gonna do this again in the future. So, I look forward to talking to you again.
You know what? Friday nights, late night, as soon as I get home from work, I always run a live stream. It's an open Jitsi room. Anybody can join at any time. Currently, we have a certain Slackware troll sitting there that's joined us the past couple streams. I'm sure you might know who that is.
I believe I might. I won't say any names, but I believe I might.
Yeah. So he's been
Bless you.
Thank you.
he's been hopping into there, and he's just like, you should be using Slackware. Gentoo's sucks. Slackware's amazing. I'm like, well, fuck Slackware. I've never used it before. They don't even have a version 15 yet.
No, and no, there's a lot of people that have tried to get me into Slackware, and I'm like, man, you do not know me. Like, you do not know me.
I mean, I'm fine with Slackware, but I already run Gen 2.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. I don't think either one of us hate Slackware. Neither one of us even have an opinion on Slackware to hate it. Like, we don't have enough time in it. Like, it's just, no, I'll pass. It doesn't seem like a project that interests me. But, all right, man. Well, we're going to go ahead and finish off the recording. And I'll see everyone in the next episode of the Linux Crew. And hopefully Joshua Lee will be back before too long. Don't forget to check his links out below.
Yep, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.